Hi you guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Charlotte. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Today we're doing part 2 of my collective haul. This is going to be the niche and designer fragrances. I did do a part 1 with the affordable and celebrity scent haul. If you haven't already seen that, I will leave a link down below and up in the cards. For now, today, we're going to go into the niche and designer fragrances that I've added to my collection in the last 6 months. Let's start with a couple fragrances that basically I bought because of FOMO, fear of missing out. They were discontinued recently, which I hate it when that happens, don't we all hate it? And these were fragrances that I wanted to purchase for years, like basically one of them since it came out. And so I was like, now's the time to do it. So I did it. One of them was very, very, very much worth it. The other one, not so much. I'll get to that one first. So that's basically Burberry Her Intense. Now, I love Burberry Her, the original Burberry Her. It was not a love at first sniff, but it became an absolute love for me, a fragrance that I love to wear all year round. So I was like, when Burberry Her Intense was getting discontinued, I was like, I need to pounce on this. I don't know how long it's going to be around. And so I got it. And it is worth mentioning that there is a new Burberry Her Elixir that just came out or is coming out. And by the time this is posted, it's probably been out, which I believe is probably basically replacing the Her Intense. And that one does have good reviews so far that I've seen. It's very new though. This one, however, you guys, just did not wow me. It's not bad, okay? It's not bad, but it's just not as good as the original to me. It's a little bit more linear, less complex, a little bit more syrupy, slightly more ambery, I guess, but just generally feels like the inferior version between Burberry Her and Burberry Her Intense. You know, unfortunately, there's something in this that smells a little bit plasticky as well, which I don't get with the original Burberry Her. Like I said, a little bit more syrupy, ambery, almost has more of, I don't think it has this note listed, but it feels more cherry-like and syrupy. Whereas the original Burberry Her, I definitely get a very strong, very prominent strawberry. I don't get that as much with this one. Maybe it's more like raspberry. It might be more like a fusion of raspberry and cherry that I get with this one, whereas the original, I really get that prominent strawberry, and it's like a milky strawberry milkshake sort of vibe. This one is more syrupy sweet without that more cozy, creamy quality that the original has. So overall, I'm still glad that I got this because I want to experiment with it more, and I just love the Burberry Her DNA scent profile so much. I would just mainly say that if you have FOMO, first of all, there's the new Elixir coming out. So maybe that's the better one, you know what I mean? In the intense versions. The original is where it's at. In my opinion, I prefer the original. It's not always the case for all fragrances, but in this case, I think the original is the better one. I don't regret this purchase, but I am glad that I got the 50 ml and that it's the original. I have the 100 ml and you know what I mean? I think that one's the better one. So this one falls a little bit flat to me and I prefer the original. I'd love to know down below if you prefer the original or the intense. Let me know, let's discuss, let's compare notes. Of course, this is still new to me, so I'm gonna continue wearing it and my opinion might evolve and change, but I definitely don't feel like I can recommend it, first of all, because I prefer the original, but also it's discontinued. Now that leads me to the second fragrance that I got because it was being discontinued, and that is Narciso by Narciso Rodriguez in the white cube. Now you guys know, if you watch my channel already, you know that I love POUDREE, the one in the pink, the light pink cube. Now this one, some people say that these are similar enough. What got me really intrigued by this one is that it has a lactonic accord due to the gardenia in here, and I love this so much. I love this so much. I am so disappointed that this is discontinued. I honestly don't understand why, because this might be my favorite of all the cubes. I definitely love it just as much as the POUDREE. POUDREE and this one, I would say, are definitely my favorites. And it's funny because out of like looking at the notes when I originally before I had any of the three cubes, the original cubes, I would have thought the Rouge was my favorite, and that's actually my least favorite. I like it, but I can't wear it anytime, anywhere. I need to be in the mood for it. It feels a little bit more austere and stuffy to me, whereas these I can wear anytime. The Poudree and the white cube one. The white cube one is the perfect, clean, soapy, slightly lactonic, musky, woody fragrance. Amazing performance as well. This could absolutely be a signature year-round scent. I'm so sad that I can't really recommend it for the reason that it is discontinued. I think it's a shame that this has been discontinued. I really don't understand it, especially since it seems to be very well loved in the community as well. It's not like it's a fragrance that people don't like, you know what I mean? It's very well loved, and I'm just so sad. This is the perfect floral woody musk, or woody floral musk, which is one of my favorite types of scents. Floral woody musks are some of my absolute favorite fragrances, and because of the fact that it's both discontinued and it's in an opaque bottle, I find myself rationing my use, which is so silly, especially when I have so many fragrances. But I just love it so much, and it makes me feel just so cozy and content and secure, and like the perfect after shower before bed fragrance by far, probably in my collection. I just love this so much, you guys, and definitely gets compliments. My partner, my boyfriend, really loves this as well. Yeah, I'm just sad that it's been discontinued. Definitely would recommend Poudree if you can't get this one, because they are quite similar, though this one does have a little bit more of that lactonic touch from the gardenia. They are quite similar, and they give very similar vibes. So there you go. Narciso, the white cube by Narciso Rodriguez. Extremely happy that I picked it up while I still can. I would love to know what your thoughts are on this gem as well down below. And if you think there's any other similar fragrances, let me know. Aside from Poudree, I know that they have some new fragrances. There's like Narciso Cristal, I think. I would love to know your thoughts on it. If you've smelled it, I have not smelled it. Why? Why did you get discontinued? Not okay. Not okay. Next up, we have another beautiful musky fragrance that can be worn year-round, and I will wear it year-round. This is by Juliette Has a Gun. This is Musc Invisible. And if you recall, if you've been around for a while, I did do a review of a bunch of samples I had by Juliette Has a Gun maybe a year and a half ago. And the two that marked me the most were Vanilla Vibes and Musc Invisible. I got Vanilla Vibes. I love that fragrance. I wore it to death this summer and put quite the dent in it, actually. And Musc Invisible is so beautiful. I've only loved musk even more since the time that I smelled this. So when I purchased this, I was extremely excited to receive it, because I was like, okay, this is gonna be like a staple fragrance for me. And it is. It's just a beautiful unisex cotton flower, clean, musky fragrance. It smells a little bit soapy, but very, very just musky and clean without any sharpness from soap, really, because sometimes soapy can mean sharp to me. Very cuddly, very cozy, very your skin but better. It has a very sort of androgynous feeling to it, which I just think is very sexy and understated and suitable for any time of year, any occasion. Could absolutely be a signature scent. Yeah, I just love this fragrance. I can't wait to get more wear out of it. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on it as well down below. This is an ultimate win for me for fragrances. And I will say too that Juliette Has a Gun has the best atomizers and bottles in general. I love the bottles. Their whole line has grown on me a lot more over the last couple years. I just love it so much. It has a beautiful pressurized atomizer, and where you can kind of control how much you put out, and it's like a very fine mist and very easy to travel with as well. You know, I'm not like afraid of breaking it or anything like this. Oh, I just love it. It's like, it smells a little bit like clean linen, soft skin without being overly feminine. That's what makes it kind of unisex. It's just perfect. I love it so much. It's really, really beautiful. Musc Invisible by Juliette Has a Gun has quickly become one of my favorite fragrances currently. Next up, we have a fragrance by Atkinsons, which is a house I've never explored before. This is Tulipe Noire. I found a good deal on it, and I was very intrigued because it also was supposed to be similar to Lily Fantasy by Juliette Has a Gun. This is a very strong ambroxan fragrance with a lot of tuberose, and yeah, it's like a woody floral musk, heavy on the ambroxan and tuberose. Very unisex, maybe leaning a little bit feminine. Something about it, I guess it's the tuberose, reminds me a little bit, just a little bit, of the tuberose in Cocaine by Franck Boclet, but not at all at the same time, because it doesn't have that super sickly, carnal, animalic tinge to it that can veer on mothballs like in Cocaine. This is a lot more tame, a lot more wearable. The other one, that other fragrance, is probably one of the strongest fragrances in my collection. One spray will fill a room, for better or worse. Lots of people will not have a good reaction to that fragrance, whereas this is not like that. There's nothing controversial about the scent in this. I don't know, I guess it's the tuberose that reminds me of that tuberose, but a lot less carnal, a lot less animalic. And like, to give you an idea of how not the same they are too, is like, I asked my boyfriend if it reminded him of that one. He was like, oh, not at all, because he had a really negative reaction to that other fragrance, Cocaine, whereas this one he really likes. So worth, mentioning. Very heavy on that ambroxan. So if you don't like that like synthetic ambroxan quality in, for example, Juliette Has a Gun has that note featured in a lot of its fragrances, you might not like it, but otherwise it's a very pleasant woody floral musk fragrance. You can wear it every day, anytime, totally suitable for men, women, any gender. And this has rhubarb and coriander in the top to make it a teensy bit fruity. But yeah, see that tuberose in there is totally bubblegummy as well. So there's something in it that's like buttery and oily, like in Cocaine. I don't know why though. It's really not the same though, you guys. Please, they're not dupes in any way, any shape or form. There's something in it though that reminds me of that one. I don't know if it's the combination of the tuberose with something else, but there's something in it that reminds me of a much more toned down, not toned down in strength of fragrance necessarily, but toned down in how animalic that one goes, But it's really a musky tuberose ambroxan fragrance, and you need to love tuberose to like this fragrance. I really do think that you need to love tuberose. The tuberose in here is like part bubblegum and part carnal, fleshy tuberose. You know what I mean? So not quite animalic, but it kind of goes there a little bit. And it does have, I don't know if it's the combination of the ambroxan and the tuberose that reminds me of Cocaine. Heavy on the tuberose, very heavy on the tuberose. That might just be the only reason it reminds me of Cocaine, because it's so heavy on that tuberose in that slightly carnal, animalic way. I like this. I definitely need to wear this more. I've only had it for a few months and I haven't reached for it because it isn't something that I was necessarily wanting to reach for in the summertime. I think this might be more suitable for colder weather, or at the very least the springtime, not super hot summer weather. So yeah, excited to get some more wear out of this one. I would love to know your opinion on this fragrance or your thoughts on it. If you've smelled it before, let me know down below. That's Atkinsons Tulipe Noire. Next we have another old school designer fragrance, Flanker. I don't know if I think this one is more recent, but it's a flanker of a more old school designer fragrance that was a very classic fragrance in the 2000s, I guess. And this is Donna Karan. This is Donna Karan Essence. So yeah, Donna Karan Cashmere Mist Essence. So there's Donna Karan Cashmere Mist, which I do have. The Eau de Parfum is what I have, which is a very clean, soapy, powdery fragrance that also has a deodorant, antiperspirant with that namesake fragrance that has become kind of iconic for a lot of people as well, that smells exactly like it. This is the Essence, which I was like very intrigued, found a good deal for it, and I was so intrigued This one, however, is a lot more animalic. This is mainly amber, a little bit of sandalwood and jasmine. This is that very powdery amber sort of fragrance. It is, yeah, amber, woody, white floral, definitely powdery, definitely animalic. It has an animalic side to it that initially when I smelled it felt a little bit like suede or leather, and I wasn't so sure I liked it. Actually, my partner too smelled it on a box, like on the cardboard, and he really didn't like it either. But that kind of fragrance, like a dry, woody, ambery fragrance, I think needs to be tried on skin. I think sprayed on cardboard especially, that kind of fragrance can just become too woody, powdery, animalic. But that said, I don't know that this is the kind of fragrance for me, you guys. I do think that it is a interesting, prominent amber fragrance. It's a dry amber. So if you've seen my amber fragrance video, I do tend to prefer a more gourmand amber that's a little bit more sweet and resinous. This is that dry, powdery amber, and those are not the typical ambers I go for. I do think this is quite unisex. It's marketed towards women, but I think it's quite unisex of a fragrance. And this was actually released in 2018, which is pretty recent. And the original Cashmere Mist was 1994. So I think that's kind of interesting because I don't find this one particularly more modern. I do think it resembles the regular Cashmere Mist, just a little bit more ambery and animalic, to be honest. So worth checking out if you like an amber floral fragrance that is very dry, less sweet, like barely any sweetness at all actually, and very heavy on the powdery amber quality. Worth checking out. And like I said, very unisex. Next up, we have another fragrance that this fragrance I will say was kind of a risky blind buy, but I just went for it. And this is by Christian Dior. This is Joy Intense. So I actually had like a little sample of Joy and I really liked it. And I was like not expecting to like it because Fragcom has been very harsh on the Joy line, I think. And so I was not expecting much. And I was like, oh, I actually really like that. Is it mind-blowing? Is it out of this world? Is it super unique? No, but it was really well done to my nose. But then I was looking at the notes and I found a good deal for the Intense version. And I just thought, I want to try the Intense version. So that's the one I got. And this is really pretty. This is definitely a more mature fragrance. So if the word mature for fragrances doesn't vibe with you, probably not for you. But if it does, like this is it's classy, it's elegant, it's powdery, a little bit sweet. Yeah, it's a powdery, more classic, elegant, mature vanilla fragrance with some white florals. It has some muskiness in there that I definitely appreciate, and it's basically just jasmine and rose. That's what I get. Powdery, soft, pretty white floral, but pretty in a more elegant and mature kind of way, right? So I was gonna say, so I was trying to compare it to something else, but like, for example, totally different, but from my other video, Sweet Like Candy by Ariana Grande is very pretty and soft in a princessy, youthful kind of way, right? This is more elegant and mature and demure in a more mature way. So like a queen. So there you go, that's Joy Intense. And this is one that I got, I think the big like springtime, and it's definitely one that I was like, okay, I really like this. I enjoy it, especially for when I want to feel a little bit more mature and put together and all of that. But I definitely think it's more suitable for the fall and winter. So I'm excited to try it out more in that time, see what I think about it, have more detailed thoughts about it. But in the meantime, do I think it's special or super unique? No, but it is. It's very elegant and pretty and powdery, soft, floral, musky vanilla that I can appreciate and that I'm excited to wear some more in the coming months. I'd love to know your thoughts on this fragrance down below, this one or the original Joy as well. And I believe one of the main differences is that this one is a lot more powdery than the original Joy. And I think the other one has a little bit more fruitiness in it as well. That's Christian Dior Joy Intense. Next up, finally, I have two fragrances by KAYALI. I have one that is one of their original fragrances, and I have their brand new fragrance. I'm going to start with the more original fragrance, and that is KAYALI 12? Yeah, KAYALI Musk 12. And y'all, I was lately, as I've been very much into Musk, I was like, man, I just need to get the KAYALI Musk because maybe it's my favorite of the whole bunch. And you guys, I love this so much. This is the prettiest, softest, most daintiest musk ever. The only problem is it's definitely, you can easily go anosmic to this musk. You kind of need to douse yourself in it. And I only wore this once or twice. And I had to spray a lot of it, definitely more than the other KAYALI fragrances. It might just be like a perception that you have when you're spraying, because I thought, I don't think anyone's gonna be able to wear, like smell this on me. And you guys, I never get compliments on fragrances. It's part of, I think partly it's just culturally, like people don't approach people where I'm from. But also I don't go out much, you know, there's a lot of reasons. And I don't tend to overspray, all those things. But the very first day that I wore this, I got a compliment. Yeah. I got complimented by someone at H&M when I was shopping for my kids' clothes, and he was like, excuse me, and I was like, yeah. He's like, your fragrance just smells so good. It's so pretty. It's so beautiful. I was like, wow, thank you. It made me so happy. So I was like, oh my God, you can smell it. And I said, I was like, thank you, because I thought you couldn't really smell it. And he was like, you smell it just enough. It's perfect. And I was like, and that's what it is to me, you guys. Like, if there was one fragrance that I could wear year round that would be like a signature scent to, this would be a contender for sure. I also think this is a beautiful fragrance for someone who doesn't think they like fragrance. You know what I mean? Because it's just so effortlessly like clean and pretty and skin-like, but just enough more. It's just a little bit more than your skin, but better. You know what I mean? It's just so pretty. It's such an underrated KAYALI fragrance for sure. I would love a full bottle of this, because if I start using this as much as I want to, I'm definitely going to go through this a lot quicker than my other KAYALI minis. That's KAYALI Musk 12 or 13. Yeah, KAYALI Musk 12. I absolutely love this fragrance. It is now one of my favorite KAYALI fragrances for sure. Last but certainly not least, we have KAYALI Lovefest Burning Cherry 48. You guys, this is super pretty, definitely very appropriate for the fall time. Just before I get into it, was anyone else really annoyed that they got this long travel glass spray? I got it from Sephora, and on the Sephora website, they were advertising this. And then midway, while sending it over to me, they changed the picture from this to this. I know I'm not the only one, because I saw on a lot of Facebook groups and stuff that people had the same problem and they were really disappointed. So anyway, this is a new bottle that they have. You can still get the little ones like this on the Huda Beauty or KAYALI website, but at Sephora, where I am, you only get this long travel spray, and I think there's a $2 difference between the two. It's just that as a collector, or if you have more than a couple of them, it's nice to have them all in the same little cute bottle that's really, you know, identical to the larger versions. But, you know, I'm gonna live with this long bottle, which is, to be honest, if it weren't for the fact that, you know, I was collecting these little bottles, I'd be totally fine with this. This is a beautiful travel spray, nice sturdy spray. But anyway, for the scent, beautiful cherry scent. I was definitely very surprised by how much it did remind me of Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. And I say that because there seems to be an immediate comparison to Tom Ford's Lost Cherry with any kind of cherry scent that comes out, and not every cherry scent smells like Lost Cherry, you know? So I thought it was just another one of those comparisons, but it actually does, especially from the atomizer and especially at first spray, bear striking resemblance to Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. So I have Tom Ford's Lost Cherry here. And yeah, from the atomizer, they are quite similar. Now I tested them out all day long on both sides to be able to come back to you with what the differences are, because I think it's worth noting. So yeah, so I would say that at the very beginning, they are very similar, and I would say more so than I would have hoped, because, well, I say more so than I would have hoped because I wanted something more unique, something, you know, a bit different than Lost Cherry. We already have Lost Cherry on the market. But at the same time, for sure, it can be kind of exciting because Lost Cherry is prohibitively priced for most people, including myself. I don't have a full bottle of it. I have this decant and I very seldom use it because of the price, you know, because I do really enjoy it and I don't want to run out, and I find the price extremely high for the amount that you get, and I have no plans on buying it in the foreseeable future. So for that reason, it could be kind of exciting because, hey, if it's very similar, KAYALI is a lot more affordable than Tom Ford. It's definitely not in the affordable price range, but definitely way more than Tom Ford. Like I would buy a full bottle of Lost Cherry maybe if it was KAYALI's price. But after that initial spray and after the first couple minutes, it does change a little bit. Lovefest is a lot more woodsy, creamier, and a tad more smoky than Lost Cherry. I would say that the cherry is more prominent at the first spray of Lovefest, and then it quickly mellows out and morphs into the other notes. So you have some praline, you have some woodsy notes, some Palo Santo, which I guess is what's giving it a little bit of that smoky edge. You have some tonka bean in here, you have some Gaiac wood, you have some heliotrope, giving it some powderiness. You have the praline, which gives it a gourmand edge. So the burning cherry is the top note. And I think you will see in the note breakdown too that it makes sense that Lost Cherry carries over that cherry a little longer because there's more cherry in it. There's cherry in the mid as well. Here, the other notes kind of take over the rest of the fragrance, I find. You still get the cherry, but it just mellows out, you know, and becomes more of a mixture of all these notes rather than just cherry and then these other notes. Yeah, I would say that the cherry becomes kind of shrouded by these burning woods, and after about half an hour, after a little bit of time, after about half an hour, I do get a floral edge that comes out, which I guess is the heliotrope and the jasmine. Generally, it's a woodsy, ambery, slightly smoky cherry with a more faint cherry after the opening, and generally it's a warm and sensual fragrance. Now, Lost Cherry has a bit more of a prominent cherry to my nose. It is a lot more syrupy in its sweetness. It's a stronger fragrance. It's slightly a stronger fragrance to me. It's more like a liqueur. It's more juicy, it's boozier, and it's a little bit more sweet and playful. So Lost Cherry, sweet and playful vibes. Lovefest Burning Cherry is a little bit more of a warm and sensual vibe to me. Both of these fragrances tend to become skin scents after the 3 to 4 hour mark. So very similar performance to me. I would say Lost Cherry is actually a little bit stronger than Lovefest Burning Cherry, which I mean might be disappointing to some, especially since a lot of people say Lost Cherry doesn't perform well. It's not to say that it's disappointing to me. I think they are very average performing fragrances, which for me and my needs, I'm happy with. Maybe not for Lost Cherry for the price, you know what I mean? But for the KAYALI fragrance is what I would expect, and it's appropriate. It's fine. I'm happy with it. Overall, different fragrances, slightly different vibes, but definitely if you don't notice all those little slight differences, but you generally like the Lost Cherry vibe and you want something that's more affordable, I definitely think that Lovefest Burning Cherry is a suitable alternative and one that, you know, you can spray without ruining your bank account or your finances. I find Lost Cherry is just, all the Tom Ford fragrances are just, I mean, they're very expensive, extremely expensive for 50 ml or 30 ml, and you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right? So for that reason, like, I am kind of excited that I can get a similar enough sort of vibe with Lovefest Burning Cherry. But like I said, definitely woodsier, smokier, more ambery. This is more liqueur, boozy, syrupy, sweet, and the vibes are different. This is dark, sensual, warm. This is a little bit more playful and flirty. Like I said, those are my takes on the differences and similarities between the two. I'm very excited to continue wearing Lovefest Burning Cherry in the fall time. Definitely fall vibes, like definitely fall vibes. Perfect timing to come out with this fragrance. And by the way, I tested these out both on my skin. So I think the longevity I got out of them is very accurate representation, and the scent as well. I would love to know what your take is on both of these fragrances, either or both. And I really look forward to getting some major use out of Lovefest Burning Cherry this fall, because it's perfect for the fall time. Absolutely. So there you have it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know down below what you've picked up in the last few months, if there's anything that stood out for you. Also, let me know what you're enjoying this fall. Like, what are you wearing? What are you liking? What are you loving? What would you recommend this fall? Let's keep the conversation going down below. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Until we see each other again, take care of yourself. I'll see you very soon. Bye.